Verse number 12. They who long for success in action here sacrifice to the gods. For quickly indeed success is born of action in the human world. They who long for success in action sacrifice to the gods. For quickly success indeed is born of action in the human world. Those who long for siddhi, success, focus in that particular siddhi. Siddhi means attainment, wanting to attain something specific. That is what the Sanskrit word siddhi means. Siddhi means wanting something in specific. Now, those who long for success in action here sacrifice to the gods. Meaning, you are interested in one thing, you focus on that. You focus in that, you get the desired siddhi. Gods refer to the various materialistic pursuits that everybody has. Gods refer to the goal, the various goals that the human being is trying to pursue. So in order to pursue that goal, if you want to get that siddhi, if you want that goal to be attained, what you have to do? Exclusively focus only on that and deny everything else. This is how you attain anything. You wish to attain something. That is siddhi. That is the goal. And in order to get that, you have to be exclusively focused on that. So when we say exclusively focused on that, it means you have to say no to the rest. So this is how you attain. This is how you attain anything in the world. They who long for success in action here sacrifice to the gods. This is what this statement means. The second statement is, for quickly indeed success is born of action in the human world. Meaning, success is very easy in the world. Exactly the contrary to our experience. Success is not, looks like spiritualism. It is, but for material success is so difficult. Where is it coming? Appeal letter kudta kuda nothing is coming. And he says, for success in the world is very easy. Now, you have to understand this statement in two different angles. One is taking what he says as pramanam and try to understand. Another is you take your personal experience as pramanam and contrast your experience with the statement that he is making. Don't try the second method. You have to understand through the first method. The statement is material success is very easy. Material success is very easy. Your experience says it is not so. It is not easy. It is hard. It's hard work. Now when he says, Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja, you get the success very easily. Now, first thing you have to do is, in understanding what you are going to take as pramanam. Are you going to take your experience as pramanam and try to understand this, or take what he says as pramanam? If you take your experience as the pramanam and try to understand, it will always appear limited. If you are very superficial, it will even appear wrong. If your thinking is very superficial, it will appear, the statement will appear as wrong. Or if you think to some extent, 2-3 steps if you can manage, it will look very limited. But the statement that success is very easy will not be understood rightly. Now let us try and explore how to understand this statement. Success is very easy. What is the definition of success, and what is the driving force behind action? Two things has to be understood. What is the driving force behind action? What is it that we call as success? If clarity comes in this, it becomes easy to understand what he says as Kshipram hi manushe loke. This is a very famous oft-quoted statement. Kshipram hi manushe loke. Worldly success is so easy, Arjuna. Why are you battling? Why are you battling like this? I can't understand. But Arjuna turns back and says, Krishna, it is not that if you try panni paathalam, you will know. Only if you go and do, you will know. First, what is the driving force behind action? What is it that drives action? That which drives action is of two pairs. Priyam, Apriyam, Raga, Dvesha. That which drives the action is always of two pairs. Priyam and Apriyam. Priyam means pleasant. Apriyam is unpleasant. Raga is attraction. Dvesha is aversion, repulsion. So all actions are driven by these two pairs only. You should do that which you like to do, no? Priyam, it has to be priyam, then only you should do. If it is apriyam, don't do. Raga and dvesha, attraction and aversion. The entire philosophy of karma revolves around these two pairs only. The entire philosophy of karma, the entire law of karma revolves around these two pairs. Priyam and apriyam, kama, raga, dvesha. All that is motivating the action will fall under only this. What are the consequences of acting like this? What are the consequences of acting through priyam, apriyam, raga and dvesha. What are the consequences of the action? For the formula is very clear. Karma will produce a phala. First thing, be very clear on this. Karma will produce a phala, a fruit. There will not be a karma without a fruit. It's against the law. Karma will produce a phala. This is the law of karma. The law of karma says, the law of action says, you do an action, you will get a fruit. But I am doing so much of action, but fruit is not coming at all. Most of the time we feel the fruit is not coming. It's not the fruit is not coming. The fruit that is coming is apriyam. It's not the fruit is not coming. The fruit comes. But that is not the fruit that you want. Correct. That is not the fruit that you want. Even though you don't want, why you get that fruit only? That is law of karma. That is the consequence. That is the law of karma. Whether the fruit is not dependent upon what kind of fruit, what type of fruit you want. The fruit comes according to the karma. So first thing that you need to understand is karma will produce a phala, fruit. Very, very important in understanding action is this. What drives the karma, the fruit will be accordingly. What drives the karma, the fruit will be accordingly. For which you need a pramanam, for which you need an authority to explain this clearly. You do karma, phala comes. It means there cannot be a karma without a fruit. So necessarily fruit comes. Necessarily fruit comes. The type of fruit is entirely dependent upon the type of karma. If from where do you get this derivation? You get this derivation from the first law, from the first statement. What is the first statement? Karma produces fruit. It means the type of karma determines the type of phala. Now the type of karma means the motivating force, the driving force behind karma. In the second step, I jump on it, I went straight to the third step. What is the third step? If priyam and apriyam, raga, dvesha drives the karma, the fruit will be accordingly. Then comes the fourth. Is there a possibility of doing karma? Is there a possibility of doing action without this priyam and apriyam, raga and dvesha? If there is a possibility like that, if there is a type of action like that, what is that action and what will be the fruit? Avan karma yoga. This is the analysis behind karma yoga. So the Shastras come and say the consequences. We say the Shastric knowledge is complete knowledge. It's an ultimate pramanam, where all other knowledges are not pramanam. It is the Shastras alone that is pramanam. Tasmat shastram pramanante karya karya vyavastitav. The Gita he says elsewhere. Tasmat shastram pramanante karya karya vyavastitav. In the matters of deciding karyam and akaryam, in the matters of deciding what has to be done, what should not be done, let Shastra be the authority. Okay, if Shastras is not the authority, then what is the authority? If a person is not keeping, if a karta who is doing a karma, if he is not keeping Shastram as the pramanam, then what is it that he is keeping as the pramanam for his action? Priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha. How can you say Shastram as the pramanam and all our knowledges are not pramanam? Again there is logic. For something to be called as pramanam, authority, irrefutable, complete, it has to fulfill certain conditions again. Appada you can call it as pramanam. The first condition that has to be fulfilled to say something as a pramanam is it can be verifiable and provable. Again I repeat, if something can be called as a pramanam or if something to be called as a pramanam, it has to be verifiable, provable. Verifiable through logic and reason, verifiable through experience. Then only it is a pramanam. Your logic and reason says one thing and your experience says another thing, now there is a conflict. And most of the time we have this conflict. Yes. There is a difficulty. It means the logic and reason is coming to one conclusion, the experience is coming to another conclusion, and then it is not a pramanam. So for something to be called as pramanam, it has to be verifiable, provable. If it can be verified and proved through these two methods, what are the two methods? Through logic and reason, through experience. Why experience? For a human being has two ways of seeing. இதெல்லாம் பேசிக்ஸ். இதெல்லாம் இது இவ்வளவுதான் வேதாந்தம். இது புரிஞ்சிருச்சுன்னா டவுன் த லைன் 30 பேர் இருக்கிறோமா, அட் அ டைத்தில் 30 பேரும் கிளாஸ் எடுக்கலாம் இன் டிஃபரெண்ட் பிளேசஸ். இங்க வந்து உட்கார்றதுக்கு பதில் இந்த பேசிக்ஸ் புரிஞ்சதெல்லாம் போதும். A human being has two types of seeing. Human being sees through two instruments. One is through the senses and the mind. Another is through the buddhi. That is some simple words they have kept. Cognition, na seeing. Then another English word, recognition. Re na again cognition. அப்புறமா செகண்ட் எழுதிக்கோங்க, re hyphen cognition. That which is cognized through the senses and the mind, you have to recognize through the buddhi. அவ்வளவுதான். Are you okay? இன்னைக்கு ஒரு டெக்னிக்கலா இருக்குது, ஸ்டோரியா வரமாட்டேன்றது. The senses and the mind, for cognition to happen, you need a light. For without light, cognition is not possible. Correct? Senses and the mind cognizes. And for any cognition to happen, you need light. Through what light the senses and the mind cognizes anything and everything? Priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha. That which the senses cognizes everything through the priyam and apriyam, raga and dvesha, the intellect has to recognize it in the light of Shastras. For buddhi also has to see. What is the light for the buddhi? Again it can't be the same. Again it can't be the same light. Priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha. It can't be the same light. If it is the same light as priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha, you fall under the fallacy of the pond. The poem pond. You remember? Poem pond never இருக்குதா? ரொம்ப நாள் ஆச்சு மறந்துருச்சு. அப்போகனம் is working very well. இதுலதான். You fall under the fallacy of the poem pond. When the senses and the mind, the light with which the senses and the mind is cognizing, if the same material is used by the intellect, then it will be a victim like what happened in the poem pond. So the intellect has to cognize through a different light, and that light is the Shastras. And when intellect sees through that light, it has to be a pramanam, it has to be an authority, it has to be irrefutable, it has to be provable. Then only conviction comes. And the conviction varathuku, you have to say Shastram is the pramanam. Abdinna, under what conditions you will call Shastram as pramanam? First condition, verifiable and provable through logic and reason, through experience. Number one, when something is convincing through logic and reason and experience also comes to the same conclusion, there is what follows it? A conviction follows. And when the conviction drives the action, phala will be different. That's how you have to connect. When the conviction drives that action, the phala will be different. So for the fruit to come, what is important? Conviction in action. Conviction in action. For conviction to come, you need an authority. Our soltar, therefore, it has to be done. It is so. Where is the energy, the planning, the doing, the achievement, all that comes? Because you take somebody as a pramana. You follow? The intensity with which you take your likes and dislikes as a pramanam, Shastras has to be slightly more than that. Success indeed is very easy. Oh, this is easier, sir. This is cheating. This is not easy. Easy now. I thought I will get. That is easy. You follow? It has to be proven through knowledge, and it has to be proven through logic and reason and through experience also. Second factor to call this as a pramanam is whoever verifies it must come to the same conclusion. Then only it is pramanam. You come to one conclusion, I come to another conclusion, then there is a contradiction. We fight. Which is right? Which is wrong? So whoever verifies has to come to the same conclusion. Number 3. Whoever has verified it in the past should have come to the same conclusion. Whoever is verifying now must come to the same conclusion. Whoever verifies in the future also will come to the same conclusion. Then it becomes Sanatana Dharma. Then it becomes Sanatana Dharma, eternal principle. Number 4. 4. The fourth. when your understanding changes, when your understanding becomes more penetrative, conclusions don't change. Conclusion remains the same, but you say, I am understanding it better. If conclusion, when your understanding capacity changes, and when the conclusions are changing, then it is not. Then it is not a pramanam, and you will never have a conviction. All worldly knowledges are faulty knowledge because of this reason. Because when your penetrating capacity changes, when the data changes, what changes? The conclusion also changes. 80, 120. 80, 120. Blood pressure normal. My father had 90, 130. So for 40 years he was taking, blood pressure medication. Now the normal is 90, 130. Poor man, unnecessarily he took medicine for 40 years and he died also. It keeps changing. That is why you can never have a full conviction in anything worldly. Carefully follow. You can never have a full conviction in anything worldly because you know that it is subject to change. That which is subject to change is always unreliable. Now, Shastric knowledge cannot be like that. That is why the conclusions remain the same. You say, I understand it better. ஆரம்பத்தில் ஒண்ணுமே புரியல சார், அப்புறமா கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா புரியல. Now it is becoming better. Conclusions are the, does the conclusion change? It means it is pramanam. That intermediate stage is what is known as misty knowledge. Misty knowledge. Mist na? Pani. ஏதோ ஒன்று தெரியுது ஆனா இல்லையா, இட்ஸ் லைக் misty understanding. Misty knowledge is like driving in the Yamuna Expressway in February first week. If you drive in Yamuna Expressway in February first week, you are driving in misty. You don't know where you are. Whether you are driving on the road or you are driving in the river itself, you don't know. You see two steps. Beyond that, it's all very misty. Still you pursue, still you continue. You say, இவ்வளவு நாள் இதான் சொல்லியிருந்தீங்களா, இப்பதான். The understanding doesn't change the conclusion. The conclusion remains the same. Now it turns into a pramanam. What is the pramanam here? Kshipram hi manushe loke. Success is very easy in the world. How you have to take it as? You have to take it as a pramanam and then try to understand. So first, we are convinced, assuming theoretically, we are convinced to take it as a pramanam. Even though your experiences proves the otherwise. Even though your experiences prove the contrary, you still take this as a pramanam. How Shastra does the pramanam? Every day you repeat this to your own self, you will get a conviction in what they are saying. So if you are not able to follow something with conviction, means the understanding is called apapasa jnana. Misty Misty knowledge it is. One part of you says follow it, another part in you says, one part in you says true, it has to be right, only follow. Another part in you says no, it can't be that right and all. So somehow follow middle path. And when you start following middle path, where will you end up? Correct. And the verse correct. Raga, Dvesha, Priyam, Apriyam. Either the Shastram or likes and dislikes. There is no half Shastra and half likes and dislikes. So, the statement now, in this background, we will analyze this statement. For success is quickly born in the human world. In the human world, Manshal irukra logathula, success is easy. Siddhir bhavati karmaja. Manushe loke. In the human world. With this background, go from the basic formulas again. Karma produces a phala. There cannot be a karma without a phala. Karma is done through three equipments. Karma is done through three equipments, is the instrument for karma. For action to be done, you need an instrument. There cannot be an action without an instrument. Now, what are the three instruments that drives the action? It is called Manasam, Vachikam, Kayam. Mind, word and deed. In English it's called thought, word and deed. The three instruments with which action is done is Manasam, Vachikam and Kayakam. Kaya means body. Kaya means body. Body means organs of perception, organs of action. Then comes a special action which is so unique for human being only. What is it? Vachikam, the word. Then comes the third, the mind. So the three equipments for action is the mind, the word and the actual action. Actual doing through the organs of perception or the action. Take a simple example. I am angry. I am not angry, I am just saying. I am angry. Now, I can show that anger in, that anger can be expressed in three ways, through three instruments. The action can be expressed. The action can be done. One is I can come and slap. Adukku nariya guts venum. Because if I slap, I will get immediately I will get slapped back. Adanaladhan we don't get into, most of our actions are Vachikam and Manasam. Kayakam action is very less. Able to follow? I want to tear open somebody, bits and pieces. I can't take a knife and cut. Through word which is known as gossiping, I do. I want to take a knife and cut open a person. Now, through action I can't do. Ena police karan irukkranga, others may, all that. But then I catch hold of somebody else and Vachikam. Through word I tear open. If nobody is cooperating, for that also, what do I do? Same thing, action is done through the three instruments for action. See, if you want pavana, you need to know two things. You need to know the driving force and you need to have the right instrument. No. Common sense idella. Krishna vana idella solradhukku. Common sense is. For you to do an action, you need to have the proper driving force and you need to have the proper instrument also. That is why I gave one example. The three instruments with which a human being performs action is correct. Kaya means body. Most of the human actions are not done through the body. It is either done through the word or the thought. Another maunam they kept. To prevent the wrongdoing through words, they said, practice maunam. If you can't practice maunam, which is very difficult, chant the Lord's name at least. Are you able to follow? Ideal is to keep maunam. Om Sarnavatum Sanna, you have to start speaking. Time and move it up, you should close your. So, for the pala, what determines the fruit? The driving force and the instrument. The driving force and the instrument. So you need to have the right instrument also. Like he gives an example, the instrument has to be right. You can't repair the Swiss watch with the spanner of the. What is the example he gives? You can't repair the Swiss watch with the spanner that is used for a locomotive. Meaning the instrument also has to be. The instrument also has to be right. You follow? You need not worry about the fruit at all. If you worry and take care of these things, fruit is easy. Are you able to follow are you able to understand what he is saying now? Fruit is very easy if you take care of these things. If you don't take care of these things and worry only about the fruit, dukkha is the original fruit that you get is sorrow and misery. Sorrow and misery and frustration is the root. So for success to happen, worry about these things. When you worry about when you worry about means, if you take care of these things, success is easy. Success is easy. Success is not that difficult if you take care of these things. The very effort you put to take care of these things itself is so satisfying. As far as you are concerned, the result has come already. The result success is very easy. Two ways. If you take care of these things, the actual fruit is also easy. Stage number 2. The very fact that you are taking care of these things, you are so alert and you are so careful, itself is so satisfying that the fruit you get, the fruit is gotten already. So, while you are doing the action itself, the fruit has. While you are doing the action itself, the fruit has come. பண்ணின்னு இருக்கும்போது ஃப்ரூட் வந்தா what a joy. Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmacha. That's what he says. As you are doing the action itself, the fruit comes. What is the fruit? The fruit of contentment. What is the fruit? The fruit of contentment. The tripti. The fruit of contentment comes as you are doing the action itself. Why we are not getting the contentment while doing itself is because the manasam, the vachikam, the kayam are in conflict with each other. The thought is saying one thing, the word is saying another thing. Body is refusing to get up and do action. And the motivating force itself is conflicting by nature. What is the motivating force that is conflicting by nature? Priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha itself is conflicting. So, before you get into an action or as you get into an action, you are into doing with all contradictory forces, you get into action. How can there be any result? The actual material result also you will not get, the tripti also you will not get. If you follow whatever I say, Arjuna, success is very easy. Success is very easy. Meaning, worry about what is the driving force behind action. Number 2, understand the type of instrument that you have to use. Common sense. The type of instrument that you use has to be pure. That is why we wash the kitchen knife again and again. No. Instrument mattu irna pattadu. It is common sense. The instrument that you have must be clean and pure. That is why before we get into an action, what is done first? Before you start, the first thing you do before cooking the rice is you clean the rice. This is called samskara, purification. Purification is very, very essential. You purify you get into action with the pure, with a clean or pure vanda. Pure sonna puriyadu. Understand, you have to get into the action with the clean instrument with the right driving force. Success is easy. Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmacha. Success becomes very easy if you do. That is why before we start any action, you purify yourself and you purify the instrument also, no? Yeah. Before cooking, you have to have a bath. That is self-purification. And then you purify the place of cooking. இப்பெல்லாம் நிறைய desanitizers வந்துருக்கு. You can do that. The Vedas give a wonderful example of how the purification happens. Lot of time is spent on cleaning தான் சார். Maximum time எடுக்கிறது cleaning தான். Cleaning is so tiring because remember the law, that which can become impure will get impure again and again and again. This is the law. Again I repeat, the law. That which can get impure, how much ever you clean will become impure again and again and again, and how much ever you keep cleaning it, it keeps getting dirty again and again and again, and you have no choice but to keep it cleaning. Mudilla sir. Very tiring this is. That is why first thing in starting an action is samskara, purification. What has to be purified? The instrument has to be purified. The sthala, the place of action has to be pure. The karta, the doer also has to be pure. Vivekananda says, all this in this country is restricted only to the kitchen. That is why he calls this as kitchen religion. So all the process that I said is done. Where? Except kitchen, it doesn't go anywhere else. No? That is why Vivekananda so beautifully said, religion in India is very easy because it is all confined only to the kitchen. The instrument is the knife you use, and you have to keep it. You use. The moment you use it, it becomes use nale, it is dirty. Again you have to clean. Again you have to clean. Why you have to clean again and again and again? Because you get hungry. Correct. Since you get hungry again and again and again, I remember one day when we were I was doing some cleaning in his room. I used to do that. So he was sitting and watching me. He was watching. Suddenly he called and said, you know why we cook 3 times a day? Why we cook 3 times a day? No, schedule why? I am thinking how quickly to run away because he is sitting and watching. And when he is watching, it is very and when he is watching, it is more scary. Those are the days where only 10, 11 in the group only, and during the karma time, literally not much of karma also to do and clean. And suddenly, you know why we do again and again and again? Go back, go there, observe, and make a principle out of that, he said. Observe and make a principle out of that. I sat and I did. And now I am able to do it. Then you will know why we cook again and again and again. Because we get hungry again and again and again. Imagine you reach a state of Purnatva where you are not going to get hungry at all anymore. No? Actions is not required. Action is not required. As long as action is required, what goes with it? Purification. What goes with it? Purification. Once in a while we eat dirty food also it is. Once in a while we eat dirty food also it is okay. One strand of hair in the food, the whole food is ashuddha, it is discarded. It's not the hair that is making it impure. What has made the food impure? It is not the hair. If there is a strand of hair in the food, it has to be. Don't discard. What is it that makes it impure? What is it makes it impure? The carelessness with which it is done. The carelessness with which it is done. That's why they say wear you have to wear all chefs will wear because it is okay, you can put a cap but you will put some other None of that. So, for success to happen, for phala to come, what all you have to attend to? The driving force behind the action, the instrument of action, and all has to be pure. That's why even when we sit for doing a puja, we purify the flowers, we purify the fruit, we purify everything, and we purify ourselves. Mechanically they do the ritual, no? The first purification, which the doer has to do upon himself when they sit for doing any ritual. What is the first purification they do? What is the first thing they do when you sit for the ritual? The Brahmin ritual. Correct. Achyutaya Namaha, Santaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. You are invoking God into yourself first. You are invoking God upon, you are asking for God to descend upon you. And then you go, and then, each and every limb you touch, no? Each and every limb you touch. Why you touch each and every limb? Angalla understand, you have to check and ensure that now you are pure. You are pure. The place is pure. All samskaras are done, meaning the purification is done. That manasam, vachikam, kayam, all in one alignment. The motivating forces, there are not those conflicting motivating forces. When all these are taken care, what happens? Fruit comes easily. Fruit comes easily. Meaning, as you are doing itself, the doing is very satisfying. The result you have gotten straight away. The doing itself is so satisfying. The result has come already. Over a period of time, you will get to the actual. When I say actual, the actual result you have got already, which is the contentment. Over a period of time, it will materialize into the object also. And when it materializes into the object, it doesn't add up to your contentment. It doesn't add up to your contentment. How do you understand that? Apuryamanam masala pratishtam, he said. Verse number 69 of chapter 2, when he described the enlightened person, anything that enters him, he remains the same, because the contentment is there already. The object doesn't bring in anything extra. As in, apuryamanam masala pratishtam. You are agitated, Arjuna. You are disturbed, Arjuna, because you got into this karma without taking care of all this. You just got into this karma of battlefield. You just came into this. You just entered into this action of fighting. With what? What drove Arjuna to fight? It is Krishna that brought in dharma and adharma. What drove Arjuna to fight? The dvesha. What drove Arjuna to fight? The dvesha he had for the Kauravas. Krishna knew that. If he had placed, when Arjuna says in chapter 1, place the chariot in between the two armies, where I can see the enemies clearly. When Arjuna said that in chapter 1, if Krishna has placed the chariot in front of Duryodhana, fight would have started already. Doubt எல்லாம் வந்திருக்கவே வந்திருக்காது. Unnecessarily he placed the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. Are you able to follow? Arjuna got into this action without taking care of these factors. What are the factors that you have to take care? The purification, the instrument has to be I'm going in the reverse order. The purification, the instrument, the driving force. This is for a worldly person. That's why he is using it very clearly. All this is for whom? இதெல்லாம் யார் பண்ணுவாங்க அர்ஜுனா? Who will do all this? Worldly person. அப்படின்னா there is a different category. The fact that he has said there is a worldly person means there is a different category. And what is the different category? Krishna belongs to the different category. And what he identifies with, that is what the previous verses. He acts like a petrol in the, his identification is neither with, his identification is never with the motivating force, nor the instrument, nor the samskara. He need not worry about any of these things because his identification is with the self. Since you cannot identify with the self, you want worldly success, and what you are seeking as worldly success is very easy, provided you follow these steps. And these steps are pramanam, because whoever did it in the past came to the same thing. Whoever does it now will come to the same understanding, will get the fruit. Whoever does it in future also, 5,000 years later also, they also will come to the. Therefore, Kshipram hi manushe loke. Success is very easy in the Manushya Loka. And obviously Krishna says, I don't belong to this Manushya Loka. For my identity is with. That's what he said in the previous verse, no? So beautiful, no? The previous verse. I identify with, I act like, the best example, I act like petrol in a car. The petrol in the car need not worry about purification, need not worry about where to go, where not to go, need not worry about will I reach destination or not, கிடைக்குமா கிடைக்காதா எப்படி கிடைக்கும், அந்த worry எல்லாம் petrol doesn't have. So there are two ways of acting. One is you can identify with the enlevening factor, which is impossible. And I say impossible means we are not so motivated by that. It is impossible because we are not yet motivated by that. That is the ideal state. That's the state that we have to aspire to. Since people in the world, Manushya Loke, people in the world are not able to identify with the enlevening factor, they act for success. And success is very easy. Success is very easy, not through akaryam, not through inaction. Success is very easy, according to us. Success is very easy means we should get it without doing. Effort na. சும்மாவே உட்காந்துருக்கணும். Salary has to be credited to my account. Will anybody go to work? You follow? So, success is easy doesn't mean he's saying akaryam will give success. Inaction will not give success. Action only gives success. And while doing itself, there is a methodology to achieve success. What is the methodology to achieve success while doing itself? Follow these steps. He doesn't say all this is implied. He only says, Kshipram hi manushe loke. As a pramanama, you have to take it as a pramanam and you have to verify it through logic and reason, experience it, and then you check with those who have already done it, and they also come to the same conclusion, and people in the past also came to the same conclusion, and necessarily people in future also will come to the same conclusion. Abdinna. It is an authoritative source of knowledge. The person has to be a real fool not to. The person has to be a real fool not to. Follow. Not to follow. Arjuna, don't be a fool. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Udamati. Don't be that fool. Correct, sir. Next week we will do. First, let me get what I want now. First, having gotten this, I will. You will never get it because the instrument, there is no purification. The instrument is the instrument are in conflict with the instruments are in conflict with each other. Gearbox, motion has to be. See, one goes like this and the other comes in the ulta direction. What will happen? One goes like this. The other movement also has to go around. Suppose this goes like that and there is another motion that comes in the ulta direction. What will happen? First it will become blunt. Actions are so blunt. Our actions are so blunt. No virium in it. Because there is that conflicting motion that is happening. The instruments are in conflict with each other. Not only the instruments are in conflict with each other, the raga, dvesha, prema, aprema also is conflict with each other. With all this preparation, you get into action. Success is very easy. But preparation bananuma, correct? Because you get hungry. Since you get hungry 3 times a day, cleaning also has to be done each time. The cleaning is so tiring, I wish to go hungry. You should get frustrated of getting hungry again and again and again and think how to transcend it. You got it? That thinking takes you from Manushya Loka to the state of enlightenment. That thinking. How to transcend it so that you don't have to go through this karmic cycle of purification, cleaning again and again and again, only to get the cleaning process must be frustrating, or you should get frustrated. Because how much ever you clean, first you slay, it becomes dirty. Again start again start, again start, again start. You are caught up in this cycle of doing the same thing again and again and again. What will be the phala? Frustration will be the fruit. Where there will be any trupti, where there will be any contentment, where there will be any satisfaction. So think of a way in which it can be kept pure permanently, even though if it comes in contact. Are you able to follow? Just take the same nice example. I have spent a lot of time seeing, because he said 3, see it and come back. He went on a 6-week tour. Clean money, first cut. My God. The thought that you have to do it. The thought that you have to do it again. Why do you have to do it again? Because the necessity is. Why do you have to do it again? Because the necessity is there. What is the necessity? கொஞ்ச நேரத்துல emptiness comes in, and how much ever you fill it in, emptiness keeps coming back again and again and again. What success can you get in this? How much ever you try to fill the emptiness, what comes back? The emptiness comes back again. So, one way is reconcile and be with dirt. One way is, that's what most of the people do. Reconcile and be with dirt. Tamasic. What is the state of tamas? Reconciliation of being, this is tamas. Reconciled to be with dirt. The Sanskrit word for dirt is a very powerful word, no? Mala. The Sanskrit word for dirt is mala. English la solla mudiyadhu. Dirty it is. Mala it is. One set reconciles to be with dirt. The second gets frustrated. Doing it again and again and again. The sattvic one starts thinking. Angada recognition garduvardu. Ingada buddhi comes into the play. Is there a way by which a permanency can be achieved? Imagine you can get a knife. How much ever you cut, it cleans by itself. Self-cleaning. அப்போ கூட cleaning ஒரு காரியம் வந்துடுறது. Imagine as you are cutting only, it doesn't get dirt at all. What the state that has to be? That state is moksha. That state is self-realization. That state is God realization. Vedanta says, Krishna says, all great masters says, don't stop till you get there. Don't stop till you get there. The vast majority reconciles with dirt, because the எவ்வளோ கிளீன் பண்ணாலும் இப்படிதான் ஆப்போறதுன்னா அது பாட்டில் இருந்துட்டு பட்டுமா அப்படியே இருக்கட்டும். இது என்னத்துக்கு பண்ணு answer gets so worked up. Worked up in the sense, the thought of doing it again is very frustrating, tiring. They will do, but the doing is done with a lot of frustration. Phala will not come. The result will not come. The third one starts thinking, wow, is there a permanency to this? Is there anything? Nityatvam. It is called the state of permanency. The state of permanent Shuddha. That is why one of the indicative definitions of Brahman is Nirmala. Once you get to that state, you don't have to worry about the samskara of purification again and again. Otherwise, you have to do it again and again and again. Like a machine, you can't keep doing it again and again and again. Somewhere down the line, there will be a frustration, and when frustration comes, what is frustration? Frustration is nothing but a reconciliation to be with dirt. Frustration is nothing but a reconciliation to be with dirt. Because even the purification process is seen through the light of, is cognized through the light of senses and the mind. The buddhi comes in, the buddhi has to, what the buddhi has to do? What the senses and the mind cognizes, the buddhi has to recognize. And the recognition ஆரம்பிக்கணும்ங்கிறதுக்கு உபநயனம் ceremony. இல்லன்னா cognition happens through the senses and the mind. Other species need not go through the samskara, the other species need not go through all this because they don't have to recognize anything. Pratyakshave போராடுங்களுக்கெல்லாம். They see it and they go by it. For a human being, it is not possible. For cognition to happen, I am summarizing. For cognition to happen, you need light. Eyes are there. Light and switch off on dark curtains, what happens? So for cognition to happen, you need senses are there already. What is needed? Light. So yeah. What is the light through which the senses and the mind cognizes everything? What is the light? For the eyes, it is sunlight. What is the light for the senses and the mind to cognize anything? Priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha. In one word, it is known as desires. Desires is the light through which the senses and the mind cognizes. That which is cognized through the desires has to be fresh up. The eyes have already seen it. With the same eyes, what is there to recognize? For eyes has already seen it. So you have to, what is seen already through the desire has to be seen again through intellect. And what is the light for the intellect? Shastras. Therefore, Shastram becomes the pramanam for intellect. Shastram becomes the pramanam for intellect. Desires is the pramanam for intelligence. There's one difference. Desires is the pramanam for intelligence. I have a desire to get it. I can use my intelligence and get it. But still, what is the pramanam? What is the light? Desires only. Since it is by the desires, what will be the phala? What will be the fruit? Whatever be it. If it is recognized through the buddhi, at the worldly level ku buddhi. Then comes the third eye, jnana chakshu. three eyes. The human being has three eyes. One is one seeing is through the senses and the mind. The second seeing is through the buddhi, the intellect. Third is the jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom. The jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom ko bonam na, buddhi is needed to make sure that senses and the mind is not pramanam. Senses and mind is not reliable. When the senses and the mind is not a pramanam, when the senses and the mind is not reliable, then what will you rely upon? The Shastras. Shastras you can rely upon because it fulfills certain conditions and is complete. Whereas all worldly knowledge is a faulty, incomplete no sollakudadu. Faulty knowledge. It is so much of attention to the faulty knowledge and no attention to the real knowledge. Now what to do? You follow? Idellam the basic formula. In the basic formula way will be retold again and again and again in various forms, in various ways, till conviction arises. Another Shastras don't say anything new. You can't say anything new in the Shastra. Purnamada, Purnamidam is already said. You can't say anything new. You can only reiterate it. You can only reiterate it. Re means again. What is told is retold. When it is retold, you don't bring in your opinions into it. You don't bring in your own manushya intelligence into it. You have gone through what they have said and you say as the Shastra. That is why Krishna says, this is what I have learned from my masters. And you go to the Kenopanishad, one of the oldest Upanishads, he says, it is Sushruma Purvesham. This is what I learned from my ancients. Adve ancient. It means what? Not old. The experience remains the same and it will be retold again and again and again. The mind that seeks this variety says, புதுசா எதாவது சொல்லக்கூடாது. அத்தையே திருப்பி சொன்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? சாஸ்திரா மீன்ஸ் இட் இஸ் ரீடோல். அதான் சாஸ்திரா. புதுசா சொல்லுங்க. பாகுபலி 1, பாகுபலி 2 மாதிரிலாம் இங்க சொல்ல முடியாது. இட் இஸ் த சேம். And the fact that it is the same, it is told with such conviction as though it is fresh. And it is fresh. It is old and fresh. That's why it is complete. It is old. Old. It is old and fresh. Future now, it will be the same. That's why it's called Sanatana Dharma. So the Sanatana Dharma says there are three. A human being needs three eyes. The possibility of seeing happens through three. The first one is the senses and the mind. For senses and the mind work hand in glove, combined. So whenever we talk about the senses, what is included in that is the mind. They see everything through what? Through Priyam, Apriyam, Raga, Vesha. When the tongue sees the food, it sees the food according to what light it sees? Its light of Priyam and Apriyam. It lights of raga and dvesha. The intellect has to intervene. How the intellect intervenes? Recognizes it. Okay, now I have to see it afresh. When you have to see it afresh itself is an indication that you need a different light. For if you see it with the same light, what you will see? The same thing, correct. Therefore, you can't see it with the same light. You need to see it with a different light. What is the different light? Shastra, buddhi. Relatively it helps. Ultimately, the third eye, the jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom. This verse is not talking about the eye of wisdom. I just completed it. This verse is talking about Shipram hi manushe loke. Success in the world is very easy. Why? Buddhi understands and does a few things. What are the few things it does? Purification, constant purification. Correct. Constant purification. Laundry has to be done again and again. No. Bathing has to be done again and again. Why? Cooking has to be done again and again. Why? Because laundry has to be done. Bathing has to be done. Why? Because no silke. Dirty. It smells it. No. Dirty it is. Buddhi smells the dirt of the vasanas. Buddhi smells that dirt of priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha, and dovulavati tiruppi vandalu, it doesn't get tired of cleaning because it smells. Now we are not smelling it as dirt. Nalla irukudhu innothu. The priyam, apriyam, raga, dvesha is still nice only. Yeah. That is the Upanishad story I gave long back. Remember that story? Romba technical story sonnada satisfaction. Remember that story where the student is born as a pig. Remember the story? It's an Upanishadic story. In the Brihadaranyaka it comes that story where the student is born as the pig. He did a seva to the teacher and the teacher cursed him to be born as a pig. When the teacher wore the dhoti, he saw a dried fish sticking to that dhoti. He asked, who did this? One student came. He looked at him and said, you will be born as a pig. And the student started crying. How can you, for such a small thing, how can you give a curse like this? And all other students also thought the teacher is very harsh. Heartless teacher he is. Very harsh. Born as a pig. The student prostrated to the master and said, I made a mistake, sorry. Please tell me the prayasthita, for I want to come back and serve you again. Wow, what a student. Teacher ku dhaan theriyala, the student nude arumaiya. And he said, what is? Okay, in this town, at this time, you will be born as of the 10 piglets that comes out, you will be the 7th. And how do you identification? You have a mark in the neck. A special mark irukum. On the 10 la special mark irukum. Adudha. So he called the disciples, fellow students, and said, come there, as soon as I am born, kill me. So that I can take another human birth, come back to serve the master. And all of the students thought, what a devotion. And the student died. And they all went to the town. And the piglet was giving birth. And the 7th piglet came out with that mark in neck. And they started beating it. The pig started crying. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? They said, you only asked us to do, that's why. The piglet said, what? I don't know what you are talking about. It is so nice to be here. Just leave me like this and go. What can you do? Nothing can be. The state of tamas. Then comes success in the Manushya Loka, which is very easy if you do all this. Then comes the Jnana Chakshu. What is the Jnana Chakshu? Seeing it as dirt. You will be happy cleaning it again and again and again only when you understand it as dirt. After a while, the intellect will wake up and start asking, what is the way to be permanently free of dirt? Eternal clean money is there a permanent way to get rid of the dirt? What is the permanent way to get rid of the dirt? Is going to start that. Yajna karma. That yajna karma is the permanent way of getting rid of dirt. Okay?